¿Puedes decirnos un poquito, para aquellos que no conocen tu trabajo, decirnos un poco sobre ritual sistémico y cómo es que lo elaboraste y lo creaste?
Sure. I got to know the shamanic work in the mid-80s of the last century when I was just about 20 years old. And I've been studying shamanism for about 35 years now. And when I had been studying shamanism for about 15 years, I met classic family constellations. So in the late 1990s. And I found some very interesting overlap between the two and some interesting differences. And I started studying family constellation, but looking at how it could support the kind of healing I knew from shamanic work. So the systemic ritual, the method I developed, comes out of a long study of shamanism, but it is no longer shamanic work. It is really influenced a lot by family constellations, old style, and sort of like has elements of shamanic ritual, elements of family constellation, brought together in a healing ritual. And it's a process that took me quite some years to refine the method and to find the best combination of the two different disciplines.
Ahora no es ni uno ni es otro.
Systemic ritual is not shamanism, but it's also not family constellation. It is a healing ritual, many different formats that I use. So the ritual can have many different forms, but it's definitely systemic work. But where a family constellation could be more looking for a diagnosis, looking for what is wrong in a system, systemic ritual works more from the shamanic point of view, that you try to create an image and an energetic matrix of harmony. And the system that you put up, that you constellate, is actually moving in this matrix of harmony. And that has a beneficial effect on the system.
¿Qué es lo que tú entiendes por salud?
Well, I would say the shamanic image of health is that all the elements that make up a system are working in harmony together. So there are no obstructions between the different elements, and the energies flow freely between them, and everything has its own and its right place. In this way, it's a lot the same as in classic constellation work. Everything needs to find its own place, and the energies can move freely between the different elements.
Cuando tú hablas de salud, tú hablas sobre sistemas.
Yes, well, you can look at it two ways. One is that a human being is a system in itself. We have emotions, we have thoughts, we have our body, we have our mind, we have our soul. So we consist of different elements. We have different aspects of our being. And we all know that sometimes our heart is in conflict with our mind, for example. That's a classic thing. So when we look at ourselves as a system, we can see that sometimes in this system, with the different elements of ourselves, we need to bring back the harmony, and we need to give everything its right place so that we can function properly. So that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that all of us are part of different systems. Nobody of us exists on our own. We are part of a family. We are an extension of the field of ancestors. We are part of our society. We may be part of our ethnic community, our religious community, and many other groups. So the tensions in these groups, in these systems, have an effect on our health, on our functioning. And it is my personal observation that not all diseases are caused by systemic influences. But systemic energy can have an influence on a disease. So when there is illness or when there are problems, it is a good idea to check the systemic layers to see what kind of influence they're having and how we can neutralize disruptive energy and strengthen the constructive elements in the system.
Okay. So de esa manera la persona puede lograr una mayor salud y mucho más armonía.
Absolutely. In the years that I've been developing systemic ritual, there have been a whole set of different ground plans and energetic matrices, I would call them. So systemic ritual is a term for many, many different kinds of rituals. And I've worked with people with very serious physical complaints, mental illness, emotional disturbance. And there are many ways in which we can look at these things from the systemic point of view, with classic constellation or with systemic ritual, definitely.
¿Qué es lo que tú dirías que pueden esperar los participantes de tu trabajo?
Well, if you look at the different teachers that are coming to the intensive, I think all of us have a very specific flavor and bring a specific point of view. And I think what I can add to the richness of the whole intensive with all these different points of view and these different possibilities is that I can work with people's symptoms and see how these symptoms relate to the ancestor field, for example. And to see how the ancestor field is not only a disturbance that creates or co-creates disease, but how the energies in the ancestor field can be realigned and that the ancestor field then becomes a source of healing and strengthening the health of the client. So I work a lot with symptoms in relation to the system, the family, but a lot of ancestors as well. And we do not need to know the stories of these ancestors. We can put up the ancestor field many generations and see how these ancestors respond to a symptom and how we can balance the energies between the symptom and the ancestors of many generations.
So, ellos van a tener las herramientas para poder hacer este trabajo con sus propios clientes.
Well, definitely. What we will do in the intensive is do a number of rituals. We will use the questions of the participants to set up different systemic rituals. And after each of these rituals, I will advise the people how they can use that in a one-on-one situation. For example, using stones or symbolic little objects in a constellation you put up on a table between you and the client.
Unas últimas palabras que quisieras compartir con los participantes.
Well, personally, I am looking forward to working in a very inspiring team, and I look very much forward to work with the different colleagues that are coming to the intensive, because I think I know them all, and I know they have very important gifts to bring, and I look very much forward to be part of that team. So I think that we will all have a very good time.
Bueno, te agradecemos muchísimo que hayas platicado con nosotros este ratito. Te deseamos que esto sea una época de mucha alegría para ti y nos vemos en mayo.
Yes, see you in Acapulco.
Nos vemos en Acapulco. Bye.
Adiós.